Hi. All right. It is. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I actually kind of prepared for this morning based off of one of the one of the speeches that we had at New Leadership, because I thought it was really, really good. It was done by Ashley Smith, who actually was at New Leadership last year. So she was a 2-star. And made her way all the way to the top 10 in that year. So she went to New Leadership at the beginning of the year, and by the end of the year, she was in top 10. And I was like, whoa, which I had not known that, and I just thought she was really cool. So I kind of modeled it off of this. I'd love for you guys to kind of share these things that we're going to talk about, because I think if you don't say it out loud, and if you don't speak these things every single day, then if they're not front in your mind, then you will lose sight of them very, very easily. And it'll become something that you're just doing. You're just kind of going through the motions, and that makes you lose so much in everything, in your posting, in your conversations, all of that stuff. So last night, actually, I got this quote from the Bombshell Diamonds are doing, like, every other Monday they do a call. And she had this quote of, enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare. And I think that is huge with what we do as coaches, because in the beginning of our challenge groups, the enthusiasm is high. New coaches, enthusiasm is high. But once you hit some roadblocks along the way, you'll notice that endurance to get through that just drops off. You know, they maybe have a rough weekend and they don't come back, they don't show up for the rest of the challenge group. Or you might have people who are coaches at the beginning and they're super excited and they post, and then like 2 weeks comes in and you're like, hey, where are you? Aren't you showing up still? And I think that having these goals and mission, having this vision is so powerful for making that endurance long term. So what we're going to talk about is, she had this vision and mission, and then we're going to end with some goals. And I think that this might be something missing if you don't have this. So what she had that your vision was personal. So your vision was like your personal, kind of 5-year plan of where you see yourself being 5 years from now. Your mission is what you're going to do for others. And this was always something that I struggled with, because with my Pearl personality, I always wanted to think of others. But whenever you're constantly thinking of others and what you're doing for them, sometimes in the day-to-day grind, it's hard for you to really think about doing the work you have to do if it's only for others. You do have to have that personal, this is how I see it affecting me and my family also. And then the goals are just, I need that for that, in the moment, day-to-day things. So we're going to start with your vision, because I feel like that's kind of easiest to do. And this is kind of what are your big dreams for yourself? What are your big dreams for your family? Kind of what is that, if you had no barriers holding you back, where would you be 5 years from now? So what would you be financially? Where would you be 5 years from now? In your business, where would you be 5 years from now? With your family, where would you be? So I'm going to share with you guys kind of what I wrote down. And I just wrote this down really quickly because it is kind of in my mind a lot of the time. And then I'd like for you guys to share if you have some ideas of, it might just be financial, it might just be business, it might just be family, but I'd love to kind of have this as a conversation so that those that are watching the recording can hear more than just mine, because they might not have my vision. So I kind of wrote down real quick, my 5-year vision is that our home is paid for, and it's kind of crazy to even envision that, but I do see it happening. We might be looking for a new home, so whatever we make on this home, we can use for our next one. Our monthly expenses are paid for without any kind of struggle. We have a lot going into savings and college fund. I see 5 years from now me having a kid, maybe a second on the way. We're able to take my parents on vacation. They have taken us on vacation for 10 years now, and I would love to pay that back. So within the next 5 years, like, I want a vacation where we are the ones paying for it, not my parents. I don't know if I'll ever get them to allow that to happen, but we can travel without any kind of having to save up or any kind of struggle in that. And we're putting plenty towards our church. I see my day-to-day. We'll see if this is possible, but I see it with peace and calm and unrushed. You have no idea how that mentality of not being rushed and having peaceful days was such a push in this past year in my business. With 2 kids, not so sure that that goes along with each other. Peaceful, calm, unrushed kids. But, this is my dream world. This is my vision for the future. And so it's allowed to be that way. So I'd love to, if anybody else wants to share kind of their 5-year vision, it doesn't have to be all of that, but that is what I see, and that's what pushes me forward. So I wasn't sure if anybody else wanted to share kind of their 5-year vision. Yep, go ahead, Kat.
I'm still writing. Okay, so my 5-year vision would be, I've accomplished so much already with Beachbody. It is kind of time to like set and evaluate for sure. Mine is definitely travel. Like now we can't really travel that much because my husband still works. So he only gets 2 weeks off a year. So my goal really is to be able to either retire him or he's getting a new job that he will be able to actually take off more. So to be able to travel all the time and not like, I'm talking like luxury travel, like $10,000 trips versus like $1,000 trips. So like that's my like ultimate goal in life. I would love to be able to go to Israel. So in the next 5 years and like do a tour of the like Holy Land and the Paul's journey, that's my ultimate goal. I know I'm a total nerd, but so retire Philip and then travel all the time. And then also just speak all over the world. Like that's really like the whole like vision behind like why I'm doing this, because I know that Beachbody will prepare me for ultimately what I want to do in life. But I love that Beachbody is something that I can do while I'm doing that. So it's something I can do together. And also just be able to take care of my family. I know my sister struggles. Her family struggles really bad, and my parents are fine, but like I would love for them just to not ever have to worry about money. Not that they do, but just to be able, because like they've always been entrepreneurs like their whole lives, and so they don't really have like a savings or a retirement. So if something ever happened to my dad, like they would probably be screwed. So to be able to retire them, I would love that. And then to be a top 10 coach. That's my ultimate personal goal. And hopefully I can do it within the next 5 years. I really would like to see that happen next year, or even by the end of this year. Miracles happen. So that's my 5-year vision.
I love that. That is cool. The top 10 is going to happen, Kat. I know it. Just keep putting it out there. Keep praying. It's gonna happen.
Miracles. Oh, and going by that, never mind. I'll share it in a second after everybody else shares about enthusiasm or endurance. So
awesome. Okay. Anybody else willing to share their 5-year vision? Might do one more because I've got other stuff for us to talk about too.
I'll share mine.
Okay.
Just some things. A few things I've been thinking of. One, getting my husband's student loans paid off. We recently took out, actually last week, his mom took out a loan or gave us a loan basically from what he got from his father passing 6 years ago for us to pay off our his student loans. So now we're just paying that loan, and it's lower interest, so that hopefully we'll be able to get those paid off faster. So with that, his plan was to pay it off in 3 years. I'd like to use Beachbody money to do it quicker than that. That's a big one. I would like to, our daughters will be older and more able to do stuff. So I would really like a Walt Disney trip that I don't have to stress financially about. Like if we want to go and our daughters want to get dressed up like princesses and all the little neat things you can do with kids, be able to do those without stressing about every little aspect of the financial part of it. My husband and I have always said that we would like to go back to our honeymoon resort. And in 2 years, we'll be celebrating our 10-year anniversary, which is crazy to think about, but maybe being able to do things like that. We just haven't really done any vacations, just us. So that's a big part of what I want our future to be, especially with kids. Things like that. Yeah, I think those are probably the biggest ones.
You wanted to take a step away from the group instruction also, right? Or no?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'll ever fully do that, but just having the option to fully be able to do that if I want. And also being able to get my husband to where he doesn't have to work full time. He could work like PRN or part-time as a physical therapist would be nice, because then he'd be able to pursue his passion, which is writing, a little bit more. Yeah. And or editing, because he has a big author that's been talking to him about having him edit some of his work. So
very cool. I love it. You definitely have some big, visions of where your family can go and what you can do with this, for sure. Okay, so the next part is really fun, and I think a lot of us naturally think about this because of running challenge groups, but that's your mission. So this is kind of like literally, what is your mission in life? What is it that you want to do for others? So what do you want to do through your life's work for others? So we have this vision, which is very personal, very much about our life and our family. And your mission is kind of like, what are you going to change in the world? What are you going to create or do for others? I've really worked through this because you can get really fluffy in it, I feel like, and I always like to kind of bring it down to everyday life. And so I think a big thing of mine is still teaching women, because I love that teaching aspect, but teaching women to have like a new peaceful lifestyle. I find so many I work with are so stressed. They're so rushed. They're so just like all the time on the go. And I don't feel like, at least for me, I don't feel like that's living at all. And so I want to teach women how to have this peaceful lifestyle where they don't stress about their bodies. They don't stress about food. They don't stress about time or finances, but they like live in the moment. They learn to live and appreciate every little thing about their life in the moment. And that's kind of like the big mission I guess I have. And so I can throw in coaching with that. I can throw in, having challengers, but also through my page and what I post about. This will really help me focus in on what is it that I'm sharing, instead of just like randomly grabbing and, I'll share this recipe and I'll share this and I'm reading this personal development. So it kind of helps me center like, what is my life's mission through this? And obviously my faith has to do with that peaceful lifestyle. Like I don't think you can have that kind of a lifestyle if you don't have faith. And so that helps with that also. So anyways, has anybody ever thought about their mission, about kind of this bigger purpose of what they're doing that they'd be willing to share with us?
Yeah, mine's definitely a lot of that. Definitely, like, my goal is just to help women to be free from their health issues, free from the bondage of like weight that has on them, but also financially freedom. That's like really my goal. But ultimately, like sharing with, I know a lot of my followers are just very like faith filled women, or people that are like know who God is but don't really know. And so just like sharing like that, the gospel to people. Like we had a sermon Sunday just about like, that's like, as a Christian, like that's our sole purpose on earth, is just sharing the gospel. So like, I know like that's one of my top 5, but I need to really do a better job of that. And that is why I do what I do, like to be able to freely share my faith. And so that's like I know if I lead with that, like everything else will kind of fall into place, because where your passion goes, income flows. So that's me.
No, I love that. And I've been struggling with this idea of like, do I share about my dog and kind of the struggles I'm dealing with that? And then it's like, I almost have to, because one, it's kind of mine accountability to give it to God and to like share, here's how I'm dealing with these struggles, because I find that that's what brings most people in, is like, a lot of people are going through trials and they're going through struggles in their life and they don't know how to rationalize it in their brain. And so being able to verbalize how you think through and process through and deal with those trials and struggles is so huge for other people. And if there's one thing you post about, that has to be it. Like, here's a struggle. Here's how I'm going through it. Here's how I'm struggling. Like, here's how I'm processing this in my own brain. So it's almost that kind of internal conversation that you have with yourself that's even so much more valuable than sharing a recipe or sharing, whatever it is that might be kind of that easy surface level thing to share. You got to get deeper. And that mission pushes you to get deeper, I think. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. Anybody else?
I'll share mine. I have had to really devote myself, because starting medical school is such a long, arduous process. So I was kind of already on the life journey of, what's my mission in life? Do I really want to do this? Do I want to be a physician? Do I want to help people change themselves so they can be, more like at peace and more peaceful? And so my mission is just to heal physical bodies so that they can be at peace and live to their potential physically and spiritually. Because I feel like some people have physical problems and they're so in pain, they're miserable, and it's like that's all you can focus on. Like if you have chronic back pain, or you suffer from diabetes and you have insulin pump all the time, some of these people are just really in pain and suffering. And so that's my mission, is to help people heal and not just cover things up, not use drugs, or just put a band-aid on it, or just continue the cycle of drugs, and just to really heal from the inside out, really. And so Beachbody lets me do that while I'm in medical school, not a doctor yet. And I think I will still be able to do it afterwards too, because they coincide. It's like life coaching and like medicine. So it's perfect. So that's my mission.
I love that, Katie. That's really cool. I like that for sure. And that's such a, like, I don't know, like you said, people put a Band-Aid on things instead of like getting to the root of it, because it takes work to get to the root of issues and things that we're dealing with. Okay. All right.
Can I say mine?
Yeah.
Mine's quite a bit different. So mine, especially, I've always kind of had this passion for being able to help kids in some way. And whenever I became a mom, it became like tenfold. But my mission, and it says this on my page, is helping the next generation one mom at a time. Because I know that kids cannot be helped if their parents aren't the ones creating those habits for them. So a lot of it is like teaching women to get over the whole mom guilt thing, because I feel like that's the biggest roadblock that women of young children have. But I've read so much on how like so much of our subconscious and our habits are formed in those first 3 to 4 years of life, or 3 to 5 years. So that's like been my biggest mission as a mom, is to create the best healthy habits possible for my daughter now, both with her mindset and like saying things like I can't versus I can, and things like that, but also like with sugar addiction, because I've seen that she has that tendency that my grandma, my mom, me, all my sisters have, and things like that. But then, yeah, just being able to help more women, because let's be honest, for the most part, it's not always true, but for the most part, women are the ones that cook the meals, and they're the ones that are, if they're leading healthier habits, it's more likely to overspill to the rest of their family and into their kids. So that's probably my biggest mission with all this, is that through helping more women, you can also help the next generation of all the kids as well.
I love that. And it's like you said, it is different. And so I love that your page should look very different from Katie's page. And that's what's going to set you guys apart. So that's why I think creating this mission is so important, because it gives you that clarity of, here's my focus and here's what I'm going to post about. And my challenge groups are going to be based on this. And my team is going to be made up of people that are very different than another coach's team. And so, yeah. Okay. So I do have written down, and maybe something you want to think about, maybe that's not something we'll talk about today, but we kind of hit on it, but it's this idea of like Beachbody is the platform to help me whatever. Beachbody is not going to be the end all be all in solving this and getting you to your mission, but it can be a really great platform that is going to allow you to do that, and I have seen that over and over and over in my life of, I wouldn't be as consistent. I wouldn't be posting as much if I didn't have Beachbody as a basis to allow me to financially do that, which is kind of crazy to think about. Okay. Real quickly, I want to talk about goals. These, I'll just kind of share what I do, and then you guys can share what you do also, but I keep them very, very simple. I do new goals every single month. Yes, they're kind of based on long-term goals, but I lose sight of long-term goals. I need like a here and now, I need to do this in the next 4 weeks, or I lose that drive a little bit. So I usually only do business goals, just because the rest of my life I feel like I do okay with. I just need push with coaching, with business. And so I do like 3 or 4 main goals. I always have, one is an income goal. One is usually a rank goal. I usually have one that is like, hold on, I'm going to shut my door. One is a number of people that I'd like to help, so a number of challengers that I'd like for the month. And then one is a number of new coaches, a number of people I'd like to help with coaching. And those are usually the only 4 goals that I really focus on, because those push me and they definitely get me closer to what I'd like to accomplish at the end of the year. And so attached with that then, so I usually have like goals, actions, and then I have why. So I always attach why I want that goal. So like my income goal is always behind it. I talk about where that income is going to. My rank, I talk about how that is going to help me to get to my end of the year goals. My number of people helped, that always kind of is attached to like my motivation, my Pearl personality of I want to help people. So I always just kind of attach it to, 10 people's lives are going to be changed, or however many. This month I put 20 down. I've got to get there. I'm a little far away from that. And then the number of coaches, I kind of attach a why of why I want to help those number of coaches. And so for me, that why really helps me push, because if I just have like I'd like to make this amount of money, but I don't have it attached to where that money is going to go to or how it's going to help us or what I can do with that money, then it seems irrelevant almost to me. It's just kind of like I'm just pushing for money, but if I have a why attached to it, like whenever March, April, when we were getting close to the wedding, I had my amount and then I had exactly where that money was going to. It was going to our photographer. It was going to the decorations for the table. It was going to pay for the flowers. It was paying for those things, and that helped me push those months like crazy. Whenever I could have gotten distracted by wedding details and those types of things, instead I was pushing to attach that income towards us not having to put it on a credit card or whatever it might be. So does anybody have anything? Do you do monthly goals? I can show you guys kind of what it goes for, or what I look for. So I have it, I do like a June push goal, the goal, why, and then my action steps are at the bottom. Okay, thoughts about goals or how you guys kind of.
I'm terrible with goals, like terrible. Like I write them down and then I totally forget about them. I'll even set them like right here on my computer and then just they leave my mind. I don't know. It's really dumb.
Do you find that you hit them by the end of the month or?
No. I always do goals that are like way big and then don't even come close. It's terrible, I know. I don't know why. I've never been good with goals. It is part of my personality trait, but yeah, it's always been really hard for me. But I started this little like tracking for my food and my supplements and all that stuff. And I think I'm going to make a tracker just like it for my business. Because I need some kind of tracker, and I've never tracked anything. So I think that would help me with my goals. I'll show it to you guys. You guys can keep talking. I'll be right back.
I think if it's personal to you, it would work. I don't do well with other people's trackers, but I do okay with my own personally created stuff. Okay, Elena, I know you're a big goal-oriented person. What do you set goals? Do you have them? I know. And you have I see you have little tally marks. Is that the number of women? Or is that your, oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Mine were 10 women. And then that gets me to, because I'm a Ruby, so I'm all about numbers. That gets me to Success Club 20, and I'm only one person away from that. Getting my diamond back, which I am working on that this week as well. I have one coach that had a coach sign under her yesterday, so she just needs one more. And I'm hoping she will just sign up her husband or her mother-in-law. Mine was $1,200 for the month and to go toward credit card payment and savings, but that's going to end up probably going to hospital bills since we still don't know how much we are going to have to pay for my daughter having to go to the ER a couple weeks ago and then getting baby ready. So I've been pretty on. You're on mute.
We just can't get it together today. I noticed you have tally marks. Are those the number of challenge packs women that you've helped so far?
Yep. So I have 9. I need one more to hit that goal.
I like that.
So here's my little food tracker that I just started. But I might do something like this. And I made it cute with stickers and everything, but like something like this. I have another little one that's like the exact same, and track my goals and like tracking and stuff because I think that is so important. But I love this, so I'm gonna do something like that for my goals and tracking.
I like that. I'll admit I track monthly, but I don't track daily.
I know.
and I need to.
I don't track anything, so anything will be an upgrade from what I got going on. It's pretty sad.
Maybe by the end of the month, create something. You've got a week.
Well, maybe I'll track all of next month and see. I'm going camping tomorrow for a couple of days. So, and Lindsay, you're in the new diamond training, right? Or the new diamond thing? Is that all? Is she having everybody tracking that, or is it the PS page? Did you see that?
It's a mess.
It's like giving me anxiety, and it's horrible. I hate it. I want to just say screw it, but Lindsay will be like, I thought you were this awesome coach. But look at this tracker. Ain't nobody got time for that. Just saying.
Well, I haven't printed it off yet, so.
I know. I'm like, oh, this is horrible. Okay, so I'll share with you guys about what Meg was talking about earlier. Enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare. And I do think that so many times, especially like for me, I am a very much a yellow sapphire personality. And so any job that I ever do, like, you know, when you first start a job or in anything, it doesn't matter if it's Beachbody or whatever you do, it's fun, it's new, it's exciting, and you're excited about it, and then kind of the newness wears off, and then it's kind of not as exciting anymore, you know. So that's with any job for me. And looking back, like it always happened, like I would always start my job, I'm like, this is really fun, this is really exciting, and then I would get bored and quit. And then luckily I stayed at the bank for 10 years. Which was a miracle, but it was because they like moved me from job to job. Like I would like advance and go to another job, and it would be new again. And then I advance and go to another job, and it'd be new again. And by the time like I quit, I'm like, I'm over this job. Like it's horrible. And then Beachbody came along. And so for the first year, 2 years really, like I was like, this is awesome. Like this is so much fun. These trips, it's exciting. And then like this last year, it's kind of like, okay, like it's not new anymore. And I do love it and I love what I do, but it's almost like that enthusiasm kind of wore off, and it's kind of like, okay, time to like really stick to my guns and really like work it out, because it's not that exciting, fun, new, fresh feeling. And I've learned that that's part of my personality. And as a yellow, they just move from thing to thing to thing. That's just kind of how we are. So it's been really hard for me this last year. And I was just praying. I'm like, okay, God, like, is this what you want me to continue to do? I was really in that, okay, do I need to move forward, or do I need to do something else? Like, what is it, God? What do you want me to do? And at the beginning of the year, he gave me the verse, Hebrews 12, 1 and 2, and it's run with endurance the race that is set before us. And so I was just like I just kept believing like, okay, this is like what I'm supposed to do. But like when she explained that, like endurance, it is rare. And I see so many people come into this business and they're like, oh, this is exciting. It's fresh. It's fun. And then die. Like, I mean, they don't even last as long as I did, because they don't have the endurance in them to run this race. And it is hard, and you have to get into the daily grind. You guys, it is so worth the effort that you put into it, and it's so worth sticking around, because honestly, like every time I think, oh well, I want to maybe quit Beachbody and go do something else, like I will literally have a dream of me going to a real job, and it's like the worst day of my life. And like I'm like, I don't want to do that ever again. I'm like, okay, I'm fired up, I'm ready to do this Beachbody thing again, you know. So and not every day is a high, not like we as coaches, like there's so many times, like the people, us as coaches, we have to learn to live in the valley, because there's very few times that we'll hit a certain rank or we'll hit a certain goal. And those are just very few days. But I know like a lot of times I had to learn to live with, like I only have a challenge group once a month, or I only have a sneak peek once a month. So those in between times, maybe I'm not talking to as many people as I would be like the few days before challenge group when I'm like crazy, I'm pulling my hair out and like I'm about to die, I'm all crippled up from typing so much right before a challenge group. And so I've had to learn to live in the valley. And I think that so many people, it's hard for them. So you guys have to learn to run with endurance. So anyways, that's my little soapbox. I don't get off of it.
I think that's a great little end to our call this morning. Well, thank you. Kat's always good for a little preaching if you want a little preaching.
My preaching voice comes out. Yeah.
I love
Just
it.
Preparing myself.
Preparing yourself, exactly. Use us as your guinea pigs for sure. All right, well, thank you guys so much for being on this morning. Definitely give some time. If you did not share this morning, or if you're still kind of like working through, give some time for what your personal vision, your mission on what kind of mark you're going to leave on this world. And then what your goals are. You know, if you set 12-week goals, if you set 1-month goals, whatever it is that you set, I would suggest doing them. Whatever you do them and work backwards of what are the actions that you need to take to get to those goals. And you will see progress. You will. I know that you will. It just takes a matter of maybe what you're doing right now is not working. And so you need to rework some of those things.
One of the quotes from 6 months to 6 figures, it's not really a quote, it's a statistic. But he says that that's like one of my favorite books. When I was a brand new coach, I think I listened to that like 5 times. But he says that only 5% of society has their goals written down on paper. And they make more than 95%, all the rest of 95% of society combined. So like, let that soak in. Like, that's how important like writing down your goals are. Because if you don't know where you're going, you'll go nowhere. You have to have a clear vision, a clear mission, and you have to have action steps of where you're going. So anyway.
I love it. All right. Well, you guys have an awesome Tuesday. If you want to send us maybe that'll be our homework. That will be our homework. That in the team page, you either share live or you type out what your vision, mission, and how about July goals so that we can hold Kat accountable to writing down some July goals. So let's go ahead and do that. Share that with the team on team pages, and yeah, have an awesome Tuesday, okay? All right.
See y'all.
Bye.